Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're a few minutes here before the webinar is getting started. Wanted to welcome you all here. I'm going to leave a few more minutes for everyone to get started. Everyone tuning in now, if you want to bypass this, you can scroll up about 4 minutes and then you'll be right in on the webinar. Okay. So, all right. All right. Hope everyone's doing okay this Monday morning. It is February 10th. February is Heart Health Month, so I'm wearing red in honor of that. A lot of people are talking about being heart healthy this month. So it's nice to get all that information out there. So try and support your system in every way possible. Sleep helps to support all the systems. Can also help to support your cardiovascular system. So it's important. It's also the week of Valentine's Day week, so love is in the air. I'll be doing lectures this week about that. Actually, Wednesday, so I'm based here in Huntington, New York. I also do have an office in Manhattan, but this week I'll be in Huntington. So Wednesday, if anyone's around, I do talks in the Salt Cave twice a month. So there'll be one this Wednesday at the Montauk Salt Cave in Huntington, and that'll be at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. It's half price day at the Salt Cave, so instead of $40 for a session, it's only $20, and that one's going to be the love triangle, me, myself, and I. So I'll be talking about the 5 love languages. If anyone has read that book, I'll be going over some information in that book, which I think was a lovely book. It's great in terms of understanding your own self and the way that you accept love and receive love, as well as how you communicate with your partner. So I think it's really useful. And there'll be a deep breathing technique. I'll have the lecture, and then we'll do a nice body scan meditation. It'll be really nice. And then Thursday, I'll be speaking at Wild by Nature. So if anyone's in the Huntington area, at Wild by Nature, and the topic will be understanding your emotions. So that one, I'll be talking about the emotional guidance scale. If anyone's familiar with that, there's quite a few people who talk about it. Gabby Bernstein, if anyone follows her, and Esther and Jerry Hicks. If anyone's familiar with those books, they talk about that. So I found that to be really very useful information. So I'll go over that. I'll bring the handout for anybody who comes. So yeah, so feel free in this webinar if you have any questions. Hopefully there'll be time at the end for it. If I run out of time, then you can always reach out to me. My contact information will be on the last slide here. You can always go to innersourcehealth.com to find out more information about me as well. But if you have any questions, if we don't get to it in this webinar, please feel free to reach out. So, all righty. Okay, so it's just about 1 o'clock now, so we'll get started. So welcome everybody. Today we'll be talking about sleep. So if you need better Zzz to boost your health, I thank you for being here. All right, so I am a naturopathic doctor. I went for my doctorate of naturopathic medicine as well as my master's of acupuncture at the University of Bridgeport. I'm board certified and licensed in the state of Connecticut with my Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine. I am licensed in New York as an acupuncturist. I'm also a Reiki practitioner, and I am a NASM personal trainer, and I got started with my journey with naturopathic medicine as a health coach. All right, so I'm going to be talking about both aspects here in getting optimal sleep. I want to really drive this message home that if you're not sleeping well, whether it's you have insomnia or it's during the work week you're not sleeping well, whatever it is, if you're waking up not feeling rested, that directly affects your health, and you could be feeling a lot better if you're sleeping well. So naturopathic medicine is a major component to it. And I'll start with this, and then I'll also go into Chinese medicine. So with naturopathic medicine, the way that this wonderful medicine works is that it gets to the root cause of what's going on. And I hope that you gather from this webinar that when it comes to sleep, there can be a lot of things going on that we have control of, and then things that we don't have control of, but you can make the most with what you work with. I'm a big fan of trying to find answers to anything that might be hindering us. So that's what I love to do, you know, in life with myself and with my patients to help them out. So with the naturopathic medicine consult, you'll leave with a full sheet of information with nutrition, advice, lifestyle changes, supplements, and I like to work to empower my patients using something called daily affirmations. So it's a great way, a phrase that empowers you. I write it down on a sheet of paper with a nice little envelope, and you place it anywhere near you that you see it so that you remember to say it daily. And saying it and also believing it, that's the big part. So, but when it comes to sleep, there's so many things to consider. So I'll touch a little bit about with nutrition, mostly on this webinar. Lifestyle changes is going to be the big component of it, and then also supplements. So there's a lot of ways to tackle it. When it comes to this, using the mind, body, and spirit connection, it really helps. So if whatever you've been doing hasn't been working, I'm glad that you're here, because this webinar offers a really different perspective about how you can get a handle on getting proper sleep and feeling better. So has anybody heard of the glymphatic system? I think that this is really cool. It's one of a newer system that's been out for a number of years. They keep finding more and more information about it. So the glymphatic system, and yes, it starts with a G. It's the way that the brain detoxes. And the only way that this mechanism goes into effect is during deep sleep, during deep quality sleep. So the brain is able to detox. How cool is that? We're always talking about the liver, the liver, the liver, but it's not just the liver. It's also the brain, and we have to get good sleep. So you know when this glymphatic system has been working for you, when you wake up not feeling rested. And I know from personal experience, on a night that I didn't sleep well, I'm not going to have a productive day, and it's going to be no nap is going to catch me up on the poor night's sleep that I had before, and all I can do is just ride it out until the next day. And I'm sure many people are in this boat too. But if this is happening frequently and this is part of your life and you don't know why this is happening, this is one of the things to think about, that your brain didn't detox. So really understanding this concept and understanding how important sleep is going to, you know, really help you. I think when we understand how our bodies are working, it really motivates us to help to support it in any way. Because it's not that you're just resting during sleep. What you're going to find out is that the body is doing a lot of work during sleep. It's a lot of restorative, and the brain is helping to repair the whole body. So again, this detoxing mechanism called the glymphatic system only occurs during deep sleep. And there's this pumping action, this ebb and flow of the cerebrospinal fluid that goes into the brain tissue, which then promotes clearance of interstitial fluid. It's via these drainage pathways. So it decreases inflammation, which is great because, as we know, chronic inflammation is the underlying cause of nearly all diseases, all chronic diseases that people are suffering from. This glymphatic system also removes neurotoxins and something called beta amyloid plaques. You don't want to build up of beta amyloid plaques. So by getting good sleep, you're able to break these up and they get removed. There's also a proper distribution of compounds such as amino acids, glucose, lipids, and neurotransmitters. So yeah, so those are all of those macronutrients, right? Amino acids that build protein, glucose for our energy source, and lipids, fats. So by sleeping, we have a proper distribution of the compounds, and it also supports our neurotransmitter functioning. And this system, this glymphatic system, is suppressed when we are awake. So again, it's the only time that this is working is when we are getting good night's sleep and sleeping with the universe at night, getting that quality sleep, feeling rested. So timing has a lot to do with sleep, and I like to put these together. So this deep sleep is also referred to as brain cleansing deep sleep, directly correlated with this glymphatic system. And there's also a correlation with our human growth hormone. As we know, we need our human growth hormone as an infant and child that develops to help us grow, but it's also important with repairing and restoring the body. And during sleep is when the human growth hormone is released. So it's really cool. So I'll get into that. So this deep sleep, you may have also heard of it referred to as slow wave, delta, and it's also called non-REM stage 3 sleep. It lasts longer in the first half of the night, and it shortens with each sleep cycle. So we have 5 sleep cycles, and they go into rotation throughout the night. The first time that we go into the sleep cycle with this deep sleep in the stage 3 is the longest time that it is. Okay, so we want to make sure that that first quality, I'm going to get into timing of sleep and why it's so important to sleep when the earth is sleeping. Between that 10-ish window until 7 a.m. is ideal. This deep sleep also enables proper brain functioning and something called memory consolidation. So this has to do with converting short-term memory into long-term memory. So it's kind of the way that our brain is able to file things that happen to us during the day, and we're able to make sense of it, and it kind of goes into our long-term memory. I'm not going to get too much into that, but basically we're turning short-term memory into long-term memory so that we can retrieve it and use it in our daily life. And it's a great way to support brain support. This deep sleep is our most restorative. It's when cortisol is decreased. So cortisol and melatonin, they're in tandem with each other. So cortisol, as we know, wakes us up in the morning, and that's when we want the highest spike of it. And then melatonin is what helps us to sleep. So you want it in this restorative sleep, you want your cortisol decreased because it's melatonin that's helping you sleep. And our parasympathetic nervous system activity increases. So what's the parasympathetic nervous system? It's part of our autonomic nervous system. There's our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. We want our sympathetic nervous system, that's our fight or flight system. And we want that to work when we are surviving, in survival mode. And so we don't want to always be surviving. What does that mean? That's when you think of basic animal instincts, you know, that's a tiger running from a lion. You don't always want to be running from that lion. You want to be relaxed most of your life. In order for us to survive as humans, we want to be thriving. We want to be enjoying our lives. So every opportunity that we have to increase our parasympathetic nervous system, which is opposite from our sympathetic nervous system. So the parasympathetic nervous system is our rest and digest nervous system. We want to be able to tap into that as often as possible. And during our deep sleep, when the brain is restoring itself, our parasympathetic nervous system, the activity there is increased. So that's what we want. And it's helping our body to repair. So we want to be able to tap into it. If you're not getting good sleep, if you're not getting good quality sleep, you're not able to have this activity in this very important part of our nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system. And there's tons of ways to support it. I talk about this all the time. And relaxing, meditating, doing something called grounding, which could be during nice weather, walking barefoot in the ground and really connecting with those negative ions, going for a nice hike, having a nice cup of chamomile tea with someone, anything that gets you relaxed into that mode, you're tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system, and it's going to help you. So even so I'll talk about some more with bedtime hygiene. But now going over and talking about the human growth hormone. So this is released during deep sleep. That is when it's released, and it peaks after our first hour falling asleep. So that first hour, when we're in that cycle of our first stage 3 sleep, you really want to be relaxed. You want to be in that mode of deep sleep, and you want to be able to help and support your human growth hormone that's peaking then. It aids in that reparative and restorative function of sleep that we're getting. So you need to tap into your human growth hormone for that. It maintains a healthy metabolism, and as we know, it also enhances physical performance. So more information with this deep non-REM stage 3 sleep. As we know, so the physiology of it, so we have a decreased blood pressure and heart rate. So again, when we're tapping into our parasympathetic nervous system, that's what naturally happens. Our blood pressure comes down, our heart rate is decreased, we're relaxed, okay? We have that release of growth hormone that I was talking about, and that's really important. It's really important to be relaxed and tapped into it and getting that, and having that hormone work for us. And there's no eye movement, right? So this is non-REM sleep. What you might experience, what does experience when you're in this deep sleep, is that it's extremely difficult to wake up. If you do get woken up, you're going to feel really disoriented and groggy. And then the functions, which I talked about some of these already, there's cell repair, there's rejuvenation, and it also replenishes glycogen. So what's that? Brain fuel, really important. And then long-term memory. So that is what's happening in that memory consolidation. Any of these memories that we just experienced from the day, which are short-term, they now become long-term memory, and we're able to remember them. So if you're not sleeping and you're noticing that you can't remember things that just happened and you're having a problem, when you start sleeping again, you'll be able to do that. So sleeping is going to help that. So just another way to tune in and know how your body is working. Okay, so if you're not able to remember things, you know, if you simply get a good night's sleep, and that might make you feel better. Okay, and also this glymphatic system is in gear in this stage 3 sleep, so it's removing waste from the brain. So it's pretty cool. Chinese medicine. So this I use a lot in practice. Chinese medicine, they know about this mind-body connection. They don't decipher one from the other. They know that the mind and body is one. It's all connected. With my acupuncture patients, I always take a look at their tongue and pulse, do a diagnosis that way. So it's different than Western medicine, but I love combining both medicines because it really gives that holistic approach and can help people in a certain way. Using acupuncture affects the meridians and the organ systems to provide that relief for that parasympathetic nervous system. So one of the main things that people feel during and after their acupuncture treatment is how relaxed they are. And I will be doing my new program called Acupuncture Before Bed. So that will be rolling out. So please stay tuned for that. I'm going to have that one night a week from 6 to 9 where people can book. I take insurance for acupuncture. And hopefully, so if you are suffering from insomnia, I encourage you to try and book an appointment for that. So the Chinese clock is pretty cool. So it's all listed here with each organ, and it's paired with times, a 2-hour time window. So there's something called qi, spelled QI. Sometimes you might see it CHI, KI. It's all the same thing. Qi is this universal energy. It flows through each one of us as we are beings of this universe. And you want to have good flow in qi. You know when someone has good qi because things are just flowing well. There's no pain. Sometimes pain comes from stagnation of this qi, and it can be very painful. It can affect people's posture. It can affect people's mood when you have bad qi. It can affect your energy, and it can certainly affect your sleep. So you want good qi. So this qi moves through organs in a 24-hour cycle. Every 2 hours, the qi is strongest in a particular organ, which you can see here in the Chinese clock. Now, I talked about this before, and this is where I'll explain it. Falling asleep at 10:30 p.m., the latest, is ideal. And this is why. So the gallbladder starts between 11 to 1 a.m. So before the gallbladder starts, you already want to be in this deep restorative sleep to have the gallbladder work efficiently starting right at 11 p.m. to get that full 2-hour window with the gallbladder. So why is this? The gallbladder is intimately connected with the liver. And then the gallbladder is from 11 to 1 and the liver is from 1 to 3. Why? Physiologically, the gallbladder and liver, they're right next to each other, right? So, and the gallbladder has to do with decision making. So this is really interesting. And I love how Chinese medicine correlates and explains things in Western medicine also. So when the gallbladder is not functioning optimally, if you went to sleep late at night, often this happens, if you're not able to fall asleep and you're tossing and turning until the wee hours of the morning, then the gallbladder is affected. And then your decision-making is affected. So that's one of the main things. Each organ is connecting with emotions. By looking at the tongue, the outer edges is what I look at to see how the liver and gallbladder are functioning. And there's a lot more to that, but for the purposes of this, that's the spot in the tongue that I look at. So you want to be already in bed and in sleeping, in getting into this deep sleep by 11 o'clock. So the liver is in charge of the emotions. It's kind of like the cop that tells all the emotions of the organs what to do. So if the liver is not doing what it needs to do between 1 to 3, if you're not sleeping between 1 to 3, if you're waking up between 1 to 3, this is an important message for you. So whatever times you're waking up, and that's why this 11 to 5 a.m. window is important. So I'm talking about the gallbladder and then the liver and the lungs. So I always want to know what time my patients are waking up, because it's going to clue me into emotionally what might be going on in their lives that maybe we can talk about, or for my treatment, I'm going to support those organs. So the liver, being the cop of all the emotions, tells everyone what to do. If you're not detoxing properly, so now we go back to Western medicine, then the liver's affected. So now the liver can't tell everybody what they need to be doing, right? Makes sense. Now, one of the emotions of the liver is when there's anger. Or whether it's not warranted and someone's just always angry, or if they're able to go from like 1 to 180 really quick. And so oftentimes people will know, you know, I'm having this issue. I don't feel comfortable. I get angry really quickly. If that's your go-to emotion, think about supporting the liver and ask yourself, am I waking up between 1 to 3? Okay, because that's a time of the liver. If it's unsettled and it's not being supported, then you're going to wake up during that time. So the emotion of anger has to do with the liver. And then if there was alcohol, so whether you drink a lot of alcohol or a little bit of alcohol, if you get affected by alcohol and you're waking up between 1 to 3, then it might be a good idea to rethink about ways to deal with stress. But you know, there's a reason why people crave alcohol, because it helps the liver to kind of assess emotions. So it gives us some understanding of why some people might crave alcohol, and that's how they choose to deal with emotions. So thinking about drinking a little bit more water, drinking that with your alcohol, drinking a little bit less alcohol, especially if you want to get a good night's sleep, and that can help and support you. So another important time is between 3 to 5 a.m. And this is the time of the lung. And the emotion of the lung is grief. And this can be grief with a loss of a loved one, or any kind of loss of a job even. You can be grieving that and not be aware. Sometimes people aren't aware of it, and it comes up during this 3 to 5 a.m. People are waking up at this time. I've had my own personal experiences with waking up during that time, right before a major life change happens. Looking back on it, and once I learned about Chinese medicine, I said, that made so much sense that my body reacted to it. So our bodies are really cool. They know a lot. They work with the universe. This Chinese medicine clock really exemplifies how we are connected with nature. So this provides a lot of information and insight for me. So I don't know, I get excited about these things. I don't know how much other people do, but I think it's really cool. I like to have answers for things. I like to make correlations. I like to make connections. So 3 to 5 a.m. So any kind of in addition to grief, any kind of change. So a major change, lung is a time of autumn, the fall. So think of that season, and that's a major season of change, a lot of change going on. So if anything like that is going on, then supporting the lung. And there's foods that can do that with the lung. One of my favorite things is having a boiled Asian pear. Boil that up, and then you simply scoop out the pear and you eat that. So any kind of white foods help to support the lungs. That's the color of lungs. Any kind of green foods help to support the liver. All right. So some important questions that I always ask my patients. So when you come in for a naturopathic consult, it's 90 minutes. When you come in initially, even for just acupuncture, oftentimes they're combined. If they're not, I'm still going to ask a lot of questions, because the more information that I have, the better that I can help you, the more I can help you. So when it comes to sleep, there's a lot. It's not just I'm not sleeping well and take a pill. There's so much more. This aspect of sleep is there's something that's going on that's keeping you awake, and you need to figure out why. So is it that you're able to fall asleep or not fall asleep? So how easy is it for you to fall asleep? And I want to know that. Is it that you're having thoughts? Is it that there's anxiety? Is there pain? What's going on? Are you waking during the night? So sometimes people are like, oh, no, doc, I have no problem. I fall asleep well, but I always wake up at 1 to go to the bathroom. So is it to urinate? Is it that you're hungry? So if it's urinating, is it possibly maybe you need to support your pelvic floor? So we have a pelvic floor therapist here in the office. You know, I always refer out for that. Is it that you're just drinking too much water right before you go to bed? So that's a simple fix. Try not to drink as much water before you go to bed. Is it that you're hungry? So think about, so there's something called nocturnal hypoglycemia, which means that blood sugar drops during the evening, and that's waking people up. So simply you can have a scoop of peanut butter on an apple, and you have that shortly before bed if that's what's going on, and then you're able to sleep through the night. Another fairly simple fix. Again, is it that you're thinking about a specific topic, and are you waking up between 1 to 3 or 3 to 5? When or which organ is affected? Are you waking up and you're angry, and does it correlate with the liver time of 1 to 3, or are you waking up and you're really sad about something, and it's during 3 to 5? Do we need to support the lungs? Okay. Are you having dreams, or are you having nightmares? Are they recurring ones? It's important to talk about these and try to understand what's going on at the subconscious level. Are you having night sweats? So this is a big question, because if you're having night sweats, bottom line, there's an imbalance. Now, night sweats do happen a lot with menopause, so that is a natural occurrence. We can help to support the hormones on that level. But if you're not going through menopause, then you want to think about, where is this imbalance and where does it lie? And there's quite a few things to look at. So in Chinese medicine, there's something called yin deficiency. So yin and yang, as we know about, if you've familiar with these concepts, they are two polar opposites, but they work in tandem together. So we want a balance of the yin and the yang. And there's something called yin deficiency. So yin rules the night, yang rules the day, right? Yin is moon, yang is sun. Yin is more of a female energy, and yang is more of a male energy. There's something called blood and qi. I was just talking about qi, the universal energy. So qi is more yang, and blood is more yin. So thinking about, is there a yin deficiency? Is there a blood deficiency? Are you low in iron? So again, a correlation with naturopathic medicine, that's Western medicine, and Chinese medicine, Eastern medicine, and bringing it together to help to support the body. Looking at the tongue, I can see if there's a blood deficiency. Also looking at lab work, I can determine if there's a blood deficiency. So making sure that your iron levels, your iron storage are right where they should be. You don't want anything too high, but you don't want it too low, okay? And that can be a direct correlation with sleep. And then, is there inflammation? So I know when I went through my autoimmune condition, my night sweats were crazy. Having to change my clothes in the middle of the night, having to change my sheets because they were just so sopping wet. And it's uncomfortable. You know that there's something wrong. This is not where, you know, just you're hot at night. You know when you're sweating. Some people will sweat just on the face, on the head. Some people will have whole body sweats. So it can present differently in each person. But could it be chronic inflammation? So with me, with my autoimmune condition, when I reversed it, I reversed the chronic inflammation, no more night sweats. I know that I'm good. Haven't had night sweats in years. So if that's the root cause of what's going on, then you reverse these night sweats, and then you can have a better night's sleep. And I knew for myself, when I was having night sweats, I wasn't sleeping very well. I was waking up feeling exhausted. It didn't matter what time I would go to sleep. I wasn't feeling well. Is there an infection? You know, is there something underlying, you know, that's being missed? So night sweats is a major thing to figure out what's going on with the imbalance in the body. So lab testing. So I was talking about this. So iron levels, ferritin, B6, B12 also are really important. Testing something called methylmalonic acid is your B12 in the cells. That's important. Micronutrients. So you want to make sure that you have your proper levels of nutrients in the body, because if you don't, something like magnesium, which supports so many cellular functions in the body, you want that to be right. I test magnesium, you know, in the red blood cells there. Iodine, which supports the thyroid. So very important that that's correct. Zinc is important. You know, so, you know, the list goes on and on with all the nutrients. So making sure that everything is right where it should be. Okay. And proper supplementation can help get you there. So it's really important. Vitamin D3. So vitamin D3 is beyond a vitamin. It's a hormone that supports the thyroid also, as well as all other functions that support your mood, and it can help you also to sleep. So if your vitamin D3 levels are low, which living on the East Coast, most people are, you want to get that to the right level. Your fasting glucose and your HbA1c. So I was talking about how having that nocturnal hypoglycemia, any blood sugar problems, you want to get that under control so that that's not waking you up at night. The thyroid is important, making sure that's functioning. It's a really important gland, for us, and people are having a lot of thyroid issues. Heavy metals, so get tested for that. If there's a heavy metal load, toxicity, that's going to affect your sleep. I like to do something called a dried urine test. There's a specific company that I love, and this tests cortisol, which will also, I get results for melatonin, which is important, but it's not just about melatonin. I know so many people say, I'm not sleeping and I'm taking melatonin, I still don't feel well. So that means you haven't gotten to the root cause of what's going on. This dried urine test also tests hormones and neurotransmitters. I get a lot of information from this test. So if you have any questions about that, I'd love to help, or any naturopathic doctor that runs this test can help you. And then also taking a sleep studies test. Is it sleep apnea? You want to know so that you can sleep better. Bedtime hygiene is a big thing. So this is what you're doing 1 hour before bed. So we're on our computers now, and we're getting exposed to blue light. Blue light also comes through our phones as well, and blue light suppresses melatonin. So if you're on your phone or your computer before bed and you're not sleeping well, then this blue light could be suppressing melatonin and keeping you up. Some things that people talk about is wearing blue light blockers, these glasses, and starting at sunset. So wearing that so that you are naturally filtering out this blue light, and you're kind of working with the universe. So because when the sun sets, we should ultimately be preparing for bed. But now we live in a day and age where there's lights in our homes or our offices. We're able to work late and stay up late. So things are a little different. Reading an actual book. So getting off your computer, getting off your phone, and reading an actual book with pages that you can smell, reading something that's interesting to you, that's light, maybe not too heavy, not too stressful. Could be really good. Taking an Epsom salt bath. So Epsom salt baths are great ways to absorb magnesium through your skin, going directly into your muscles and tissue, and it's very relaxing. You can get an Epsom salt bath scented with lavender, whatever scent you like, but just simply that aspect of sitting in a bath is so relaxing. And if you want to get a good, restful night's sleep, this can help. This could be a great time for meditating, even for a minute or two, even having a gratitude practice, reflect on the day and say 3 things that you're grateful for. It's really, really awesome. A huge benefit. You change your brain chemistry with a gratitude practice, and it's wonderful. So I talk about that. There's tons of ways of doing gratitude practices. So if you ever see me in the salt cave, I talk about that. We talk and try and get that in your thing. If someone's thought things, I'll tell them is to keep a pad next to the bed. Anything they're having out of your head onto your, through the pen energetically, and it's going on this paper, and you put it down. You're kind of giving your brain a rest and saying, all right, it's on this paper. When I wake up, I'll look at that. So a lot of times people will have relief from these thoughts waking them up. They've simply put them down and pushed them aside. They've dealt with it in a different way, kind of getting it out of your brain onto the paper, and poof, you don't have to think about it. Keeping your phone at least 5 feet away from you on airplane mode, but ideally in another room, is fantastic. So trying to get your phone away from your brain, away from your sleep, because it's affecting your sleep waves, where if we're trying to detox during the night, I'm going to talk about this now with Wi-Fi, and we're really affected by it. So it's a major problem. So with Wi-Fi, actually, anyone in Huntington, I'll be talking at the town hall meeting tomorrow, the board meeting about 5G, and expressing my deep concern with 5G and the small cell towers that are going up, and people are really affected by it. So whether you are affected or know someone who's affected by it, this is becoming a problem. It's becoming more and more of a problem. People are affected by it, and it can affect your sleep. So knowing your surroundings, knowing what's around you. If you're affected by this 5G and these towers are up, you know, go and try and speak at your town hall, speak with groups that understand this. There is support out there, so you don't have to suffer alone. But turning off your Wi-Fi before you go to bed is huge. So this is probably more effective if you live in a home. If you live in an apartment, you probably might still be affected by other people's Wi-Fi, but it's worth a try. So think about it. You're turning your Wi-Fi off for a good chunk, about 8 to 10 hours, let's say, where you're not affected by the Wi-Fi and this radiation, is a great way to recharge your brain and really allow for some deep sleep. So this could make a huge difference. I know for myself, if my phone is right next to me, I'm not sleeping that well. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. So I make it a habit. You know, I have an alarm clock. You know, a good old style alarm clock that I set it. It sits right next to me. It's battery operated, and that's how I wake up. You don't have to rely on your phone. Phone's a phone, doesn't have to be an alarm clock. Crystals are really grounding. So I have tons of crystals in my office. So crystals, right? They're part of nature. I love them. So having tons of crystals around help to increase vibrations. So they offset, from all the research that I've done, is that they really try to offset those vibrations that we're getting from 5G, from Wi-Fi, that are affecting our brains and affecting people. So doing everything to ground yourself, tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system. Crystals are a great way of getting negative ions and getting that higher vibrational level for you and protecting yourself. And then doing all the things to ground. So relaxing, getting into that parasympathetic nervous system, walking outside barefoot. All these things are going to help you to kind of protect yourself against Wi-Fi. So let's try and have answers for things instead of being upset with what we can't handle. And then stress. So stress is a major component. I'll always ask patients, how stressed are you on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? You want your stress level to be low. Stress, that's all our stress response, how we interpret life. So I always ask, how do you handle the stress? So if it's really high, well, what are you doing to support yourself? And if you don't know what to do, that's a great time to find a practitioner who can help you. So it's really important that you know you have something set up, you have a support system, you have workouts. I like to work with blood type exercises. So based on blood type, there's different exercises that support different people. If you're curious about that, shoot me an email and I'm happy to share that. It works, I would say, a good at least 80% of the time. If someone's stuck and doesn't know their workouts, I'll match it with their blood type, and it really does correlate. And then your exposure to stressors. So a lot of times we might have control over that. So knowing, is there mold or toxicities in your home or office? You know, is at your home Wi-Fi? That's a stressor. You know, is it a relationship in your life? Can you limit your exposure to that stressor? Is there another way that you can deal with that relationship? Is it your job, or there are things that you can do to kind of decrease your reaction to the stress? So that in itself, there's so much work that needs to be done, and it needs to be addressed. So if stress is an issue, really trying to understand how to decrease that will help your health and help you sleep. Daily detox. So this is really important because we live in a toxic world right now. This is just what's going on. But there's ways to support yourself. So eat greens. We're talking organic, non-GMO, your veg, but these greens, and green is the color of the liver, like I was talking about. So greens help to support the liver, helps daily detox with the body. Cilantro, specifically with mercury. Have had mercury poisoning in my life. Well, I have this brain fog, didn't know what to contribute it to. Cilantro helps to detox mercury, as well as seeing a practitioner that knows how to help to detox and get those levels down, and then retest, and then make sure that you don't have any heavy metal load in your body, because it can happen. You can detox them out. Staying hydrated. Why? We're mostly made of water, and our cells need it. They're really thirsty. So you want to keep hydrated to support all of our bodily processes. If you're get headaches a lot, constipated a lot, drink enough water. Drink half your body weight in ounces of filtered quality, delicious water. This is my water bottle, and it actually has a clear crystal quartz in it. So it's glass, right? We want to avoid plastic because plastic gets leached into the liquids we drink, whatever's in it, whether it be water or food. So you want to avoid plastic. So definitely glass. When you sweat, you want to pad off, right? Because when you're sweating, you're releasing toxins. Our skin's our biggest organ, but you don't want to just leave it there and leave the gym. You want to pad off. So whether you're in the sauna or workout, tapping off the sweat so that you're not reabsorbing it back into your body is important. Making sure you have proper bowel movements and that you're urinating enough, because that's also a way that our body excretes. And having green plants around. So I've got my lovely snake plant in my office that I love, but all greens, ferns, any type of greens, they help to absorb toxins in the air. Tons of benefits with green plants. I've done lectures with Daily Detox before where I go into everything that I've talked about here in more detail, but basic tips. So eat greens and have green plants and you're going to be in good shape. So supplements, again, you don't just want to be taking a supplement for sleep. And if you are and it's not working, then you have to go and see a practitioner who knows what they're doing. People all the time, they come in with bags and bags of supplements. You're doing more harm than good. Less is more, okay, when it comes to the body and supporting it. So melatonin, people always talk about that, but it may not be melatonin. So get tested. Do you need melatonin? And making sure you're taking the right dose. Melatonin is really effective in the small doses. You don't want to overdo it with melatonin. It's a hormone. Don't mess around with it. But is it melatonin or do you need adaptogens? Is your cortisol response not working properly? And you actually need to support yourself with adaptogens rather than melatonin. So it's important to get cortisol testing. Again, that dried urine test that I was talking about, and understanding if you need to support your adrenals that way. Homeopathy can be really effective. So get a practitioner who understands homeopathic remedies and can do a proper intake and prescribe accordingly. L-theanine converts to GABA in the body. So GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So what does that mean? So it's calming and relaxing. L-theanine crosses the blood-brain barrier. If you need this to support your neurotransmitter functioning, people have a lot of success with it, and it helps to get into that more relaxed state to support that parasympathetic nervous system that I've been talking about. Magnesium glycinate, again, so get tested for magnesium. Magnesium glycinate is a relaxing form of the magnesium. So anyone with anxiety, running thoughts, you take some and definitely have a dose at night before you go to bed. And it can be really relaxing. If you have cramps, there's certain signs clinically that people might present where they need magnesium, but it can also help with sleep support. Again, if your blood sugar is imbalanced, having some blood sugar support can really help you if necessary. Anti-inflammatory support, there's a whole range of these, okay? So you can get your omega-3, 6 ratio tested, test inflammatory markers, find out if inflammation is the issue. If chronic inflammation is the issue, you got to reverse the chronic inflammation. You're going to feel better. Oh, I've been through it myself. I help my patients for it. Chronic inflammation being the root cause of most diseases out there. People are suffering unnecessarily. If it's chronic inflammation, get it under control and take proper anti-inflammatories for it. So tons of ways to go about it. Find a practitioner who knows what they're doing. Micronutrients and vitamin deficiencies, can't stress that enough, but have it at the right doses. If vitamin D3 is too low, get it to where it needs to be. Make sure that your practitioner is retesting you and that it's right at that sweet spot, okay? Hormonal support. So if your hormones are out of balance and it's affecting your mood, there's tons of natural ways to support the hormones. Okay, so what can you do now? Find a practitioner like me or somebody in the area that understands root cause medicine. I do telemedicine. I'm in Huntington and Manhattan. I know plenty of colleagues around the country, even in Canada too. In fact, I just met a practitioner in France last week. So if you don't know, reach out to me. I'll help guide you to somebody who can help you, okay? If you're not in my direct area. Acupuncture can help immensely. So that's why I'm so excited for acupuncture before bed, because I know that this is going to help a lot of people to really get into that relaxed state. There's way more to it. People just feel relaxed, but I'm telling you, read about the science. It really gets your parasympathetic nervous system enacted, and you're going to feel relaxed. And there's so many physiological reasons why, and it helps and it works. Energy healing is extremely effective. So if it's this other layer, if it has to do with auras, if it has to do, Reiki is effective, bioenergetic medicine, there's tons of wonderful healers in this world. and it just works, you know. So energy healing, reach out if you're curious about it. You know, find out more information. I'm happy to share any information that I know with you as well. So it's not just about relaxing, which is important, but also working out, right? You have to, how do we release stress hormones? By exercising, right? So find out the exercise that works for you, make it based, you know, on your health. Reach out to your health practitioner, again, it being Heart Health Month. So if you're seeing a cardiologist, clear it with them if you have any concerns. But working out releases stress hormones. So make sure that after your workout, you're feeling rejuvenated and you're feeling good. Because if you're not and you're feeling tired after your workouts, then there's something else going on. You need to figure out what's going on. You should feel energized and ready to take on the day after a workout, or the, you know, whenever you're working out. I personally prefer to work out in the morning. Best way to start the day. I also only want to get ready once a day. So, you know, as a woman, that's important to me. But get a good workout, because you're going to feel better, and it helps your cortisol, you know, functioning properly. And can help with your energy levels, and can help with your sleep. And then also relaxing. So tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system as often as possible can help you to sleep as well. So thank you for joining me. I know that I went a little bit over, but let's see. So you guys can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Dr. Dawn ND. I'm also on Facebook /Dr. Dawn ND. You can reach out to me on email, drdawn@innersourcehealth.com. Feel free to go to the website if you want any information about myself or any of the other practitioners here. So let's see if I'm kind of running out of time here. Let's see, I'm trying to, but if anybody has any questions, feel free. I know that we're over here. So, but this is all my information here. So I thank you for everyone staying here over time. I know everyone has super busy schedules, but we do have a YouTube channel. So if you missed any portion of it and you want to be able to tune in, feel free to check this out on YouTube when it's posted. My previous webinars are on there also. So I hope that you enjoyed this, that you can share this information with anyone, if it's yourself or somebody suffering from insomnia or not sleeping well. I really hope that they get the answers to what the underlying cause is going on in their body, so that they can sleep better. Because when each one of us in this world feels better, it's a better world for all of us. So thank you for joining me. Any questions, feel free to email me, or you can always give a call here in the office. So thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.